just saying, thank you guys for coming out again on a nice weekend. Ideally, we should be out of the park and turn ourselves, but because we have issues to deal with, we have to come and do this. It's an evening.
You take off the shirt.
Can you hear me without? Okay, right. So, try and keep my voice up. I don't have a very loud voice when I try like that. Yeah, thanks for coming out. Today we're going to have something of a fun session, more or less. I think the trouble that we have is we take these people too seriously. The point is they have no authority over you whatsoever, but it's the fear that we have in us that allow us to take them seriously. They are a joke, and I can say that through my own personal experience. I can prove that they have no authority to do what they do. Today I'm going to show you just some of the statements that they make. I'm talking about the police when you try to sue them. So I have a whole bunch of statements, but we'll go through about 3 or 4. Just pick out some excerpts. But we have videos, we're going to show those, we're going to put the names out, and we're going to expose them so if you ever come across these characters, you don't do any business with them. So whoever is a crook out there, and we have his video, we're going to show him up. The point is that some of the stuff I'm going to go through, I'll put on screen as well. So if you don't hear me, if you can see it, I just read through it. But the point is that the people should know that a public servant is just that. They're there to serve you. You're not there to serve them. So if you don't like your public servant job, you should leave it. If you don't like being a chef in the kitchen, it's too hot, you should leave it. You should not serve your customers bad food because you don't like the job. So the point is, if they're going to be public servants, then they need to do their job properly. The trouble is that there is no public anymore. It's just our perception. Everything has been sold off. Everything is private, including the House of Commons, House of Lords, the council, the police. Everything is private. Because everything is private, it requires your consent and it requires contracts. That's why we say everything is commercial and all law is contract. All law is contract. The way you can see that is very simple. Common law, for instance, trespass is a common law offense. It is unlawful to trespass on somebody else's property. However, because agreement supersedes law. So if I have property here and you have one next to me, and I cannot trespass into your property, however, if I come in and have an agreement with you, and you allow me to pass through your property, then our agreement supersedes the law. So that's how it works. Agreement supersedes whatever law there is. So what these people are looking for is implied agreements with you. And that's what you need to be avoiding. So, we'll start on a lighter note. So I'm going to say that we'll start off from the top, the Vatican. So we'll break some ice. I don't know. I don't know about breaking ice. I've been told that I'm very direct. I need to, slow it down. For me, I just like the jugular. I have nothing else to say. I cut straight to the chase, you see. But to break the ice, I'm going to start from the Vatican. So we're going to say that let's say we are the Vatican, we have the Pope, and 10 students, priests, who want to graduate. So they have their last test before they get, I don't know what the terms are, but they get graduate. So let's say the Pope is the master, so he gets the 10 students, young boys, lines them up in the yard, and asks them to take their clothes off. Right? So they strip off, they're standing there naked, and then he calls somebody else, another priest, and he comes up with a box. And then in the box is some strings. And at the end of the string is a bell, you see. So the Pope goes and takes the strings and he ties them on each boy's penis. They're standing there with his string and there's a bell, right? So this is the final test. If you pass this one, you're going to become a priest and you're going to become great and you might end up being Pope one day. So next move, he calls a nun. And she comes up there and stands in front of the boys. And then the Pope says to the nun, do your thing. And then she shows him a nipple. And then one of the bells flies, because the guy has, you see, and the bell flies away. And the Pope goes to the boy and says, listen, you're a sinner, you're not going to graduate, you're an idiot, get out of here. You violated all law, how dare you get an erection? And he's chased off, you see. And he goes back to the 9 boys and says, you've done well, are you going to graduate? And then, yeah, you guys have done well. So he goes over to pick up the bell. And then as soon as he bent over, all the bells started ringing. That's the exercise. So we know what goes on in the Vatican. The Vatican is a boys' club, right? It's a members' club, gentlemen's club. It's what we call bull parties. We don't like the bull parties. We like 50-50. We like women in our spaces. The bull parties, they use women to create boys from. They have no use for women. It's a very sick mentality, but the people who are supposed to be your leaders, that's the mentality. They don't allow women in their institutions. That is why you have the Houses of Parliament is full of men, or masculine energy, if we use those terms. So it's masculine energy against feminine energy. Masculine energy being the one with the order and everything has to be square. Feminine energy being more intrinsic and circular. Yes. So when you put those two together, then you get the symbol of the earth, which is this circle which is in the middle. That's the sign of Malkuth in the Sephiric tree anyway. Different story. We're going to go back to this. So the Vatican is the main con man, and then he gives authority to the crown. Then the crown gives the authority to the public servants, and then they're supposed to be serving you. So today I'm going to focus on the public servants who call themselves the police. Right? We spoke about this before. The police have two roles. They have the constabulary role, which a man or woman acts as a police constable, and they also have the second one, which is a police officer, who are the corporate police enforcers. So the constable, his job or duty is to preserve the peace, or the Queen's peace as they call it. The police enforcer, his role is to gain contracts of you, or impose statutes or acts on you. That's it. That's the role. So, in any case, these people are meant to be acting under oath. The only, in your books, if you have your private government book, there's a chapter on the police, and I'm going to go down there here. Hopefully I'll be able to, this thing moves too fast. I'll figure it out, so I can do some. Is there any way we can adjust that so we can see the rest of it? Right, so the Pelion principles, you can look this up online. So the Pelion principles from Robert Peel, Sir Robert Peel, who created the police, and the wording is this, that the power of the police comes from the common consent of the public, who are the people, as opposed to the power of the state. So that is it. You give the police the power, not the state.
When you say, I know you say common consent rather than individual consent.
Yeah.
So they assume that they have common consent.
They presume things all the time. It's not real. Everything they do is based on presumption. Yeah. But in any case, the common consent of the people is what gives the police authority. So if the people here decide that they're going to remove their consent, then it stands. So if these people here today decide that they're going to remove their consent from being policed under statute, then they can do that. You see, right? The only role the police have is to prevent the breach of the peace, and that is it. So as long as you haven't breached the peace, you should be allowed to go along your business unmolested. Now, there's 9 Pelion principles. The one I want to highlight is number 8. Because the police are doing this now. So number 8 says the police should always direct their actions strictly towards their functions and never appear to use of the powers of the judiciary. So today there's police issuing people with summons, issuing people with requisitions, and a whole bunch of other judicial work. The police are the executive branch of government. They have no power to issue judicial warrants. You see, because you have the 3 branches. You have the legislature, then you have the executive, and who's the other one?
Judicial.
Judicial, that's 3.
Yeah, that's 3.
Yeah. So the executive of the police and the cabinet, and then you have the priests. They're the ones who are the judiciary. Then you have the parliamentarians who are supposed to create the laws and the statutes. So, but the point is that each branch of government cannot interfere with the other branch of government's functions. And that is it. So when the police are issuing the summons, they're violating the 8th Pelion principle. So you can kill this stuff so easily these days by just simple things like that. But when they send you a requisition, You can accept it for value, say, okay, I accept this requisition upon proof of claim that you, as an executive branch of government, have the power to issue the summons or requisition, or whatever it is that they've issued you. And if they can prove that, then you carry on with the proceeding. If they cannot prove it, then they have to abandon the claim. So it's as simple as that. So the police have lost their, say, constable status. At least 90% have. So now you have 10% of constables. The rest are private G4S men dressed up as police and pretending and arresting people and putting them in jail. So that's what you need to watch out for. Are you dealing with a police constable, or are you dealing with a Group 4 security guard who's dressed up as a police constable? You see, that's the thing. So I'm gonna we'll have some fun today. Let's try and find some of the statements. Because what happened with me, I don't like using my own personal experience, but I will in this instance. What happened with me is that they came to my house, trespassed, because I had an upper floor flat. They let themselves into the main door and come upstairs to my door. So my first question was, how did you get up here? Oh, you've been harassing people, we've come to arrest you, and a whole bunch of stuff. I said, I don't understand what you're talking about. You need to leave right now, you see. They refused to leave. They come into my house, took my property, well, they took me down to the station, put me up there for 10 hours. When I got back, my house is trashed and my stuff is gone. That was 4 years ago. So I took them to the High Court, trying to sue them, and then I realized that the courts are fraudulent. There's nothing real in them. It's all about smoke and mirrors. They have gatekeepers in court when you try to sue them. If you try to sue the police or the CPS or those lawyers, they have people up there who are gatekeepers, and they strike out all the claims. They say they have no merit, but you cannot go further. So what you need to do is you need to find out where these people live, or what's called their private mailing location, and serve them legal service there. So you go to their home and knock on the door and serve them paperwork there. Otherwise, if you try to serve them through their job, they never get it. So if you're trying to find out individual policy enforcers, if you ask their boss, the chief con man, where you can serve these people paperwork, you never get it, you see. But among ourselves, we have people who are doing this now. I don't know how they're doing it, but they know how to get people's details now. So no one's immune anymore. We'll find out where you are, and we'll serve you some paperwork. Because you know about the law, yeah, let's hear it now. But right, I'm going to show you a few statements about what these characters are up to, so that you never get conned. Because for me, they've arrested me so many times, about 15, I don't know how many, but it's been so many that I've forgotten. But if you go back to the first one, I'm going to go back to the case where everything began, and then you see what this guy grabbed me on and what his statement said as well. I'm getting trouble trying to get rid of something called Norton. Chopin search somebody. Go away, Norton. Okay, he has. Right. So we'll start with some statements, so we can have some fun. We have the 12 presumptions by now. Everybody has those. You need to look at the 12 presumptions of how these people operate, and that's the entire thing. Once you have the 12 presumptions, then they can never escape. You just rebut the presumption. Okay, so let's do. Well, that's for if people try to make you register your progeny, you use that as well. Because you have no lawful obligation to register anything with anyone, least of all your private property, least of all the fruits of your labor, because you worked hard at night, you and your wife, you're certain everything to produce this thing, and then somebody's going to come and take it? No. Sometimes it takes a year to get that baby come out. People work hard for it. For someone just to come and take it and say they're going to sell it, or I don't know what they do with the babies, but it's a shame they sold the government. It would be good to have a government which has a department that deals with these social services properly, but not a private company that's doing it exclusively for profit. Right, so my case began on, like I said, 4 years ago, April 2013, when these guys came up, and now I'm going to start with the two arresting officers. So, the statements are long, so I've just highlighted some things that are relevant for today's discussion. So this is it. So the guy went out, he met somebody, I had someone I was working with. For me, my case is different. If you have no complaint against you, then these people should not be able to touch you. For me, I had somebody made a claim against me. And because they knew the police, they sent him over to me. And in their statement, their own statement, this idiot, I'm going to get down to his name, he said that he spent almost a whole day with the complainant. So I don't know how that's possible, that policemen can leave everything they're doing to go and spend a day with a complainant. In any case, this guy put my name in their system on the 26th, thinking that somebody else was going to pick it up. All the other corporations ignored it completely until the end of the weekend. So as he says, having circulated me as wanted on the 26th, he finished his shift and went away. He came back on the 29th, and none of the police had bothered with it. So he came to my house himself. So he took it upon himself to come and deal with me because he had a grudge or whatever it was. So the ones I'm going to start with is somebody called Alisi, and my main man is Edward Reynolds. He's a crook. So they came to my property. I asked them by what law and by what authority are you able to trespass and let yourself in? How do you know the code? Because I have a security code downstairs where they have to punch the numbers and come in. How do you know the code? They won't answer my questions. So I decided to ask, are you acting an oath? So this is the statement, this part here. And what it says is this. At this point, the claimant, which is me, asked me, in quotes, are you acting under oath? This is the answer. I had no idea what he was talking about. And I recall turning to PC Alisi, that's the other idiot next to him, to try and see if he had any idea. All right? Now, however, he did not. This is the second officer. Did not have an idea about oath. And we should get on with dealing with him, with me now. You see? The claimant also tried to hand me a bundle of papers that appeared to me to be some sort of document that he had created himself. This bundle was an affidavit that I handed to him. I said, because you're not acting under oath, these are my terms and conditions. And I started to get the affidavit. And to him was surprised that it's something I drafted myself. This guy is so stupid, he doesn't believe that I can draft an affidavit, or he doesn't know what it is that somebody can actually draft an affidavit. So he's saying, it's very strange that I can draft this thing myself. But that's what it is. Those are my terms and conditions. Right? So they took me down to the station. I didn't know about this until later on. But when they arrested me, it was about, they said I threatened my brother-in-law in London. I was in Leeds at this point. How is that possible? The brother-in-law never made a complaint. But this guy had to arrest me, to put me in a cell, to get into my house to do whatever he needed to do. So they put me in a cell, and this is the excuse when I'm suing him. I didn't know about this. So I went, what happened is that they took my stuff. I wrote to the chief con man for about 6 months, no response. So I did my paperwork, I went to the High Court and filed my paperwork, thinking, oh, I'm going to get a case. And I applied for summary judgment as well, because he had nothing to say. There's no authority, there's no warrants, nothing. So I went up there, we went to trial, we went for summary judgment, and then the barrister says, hang on a second, don't give him judgment because there's a criminal investigation against him, you see. Because the harassment is criminal, my suit is civil, my suit has to be stayed until the criminal investigation is completed. So that's how they got me under the High Court.
And they charge you as well?
No, at that point there was no charge. At that point there was no charge, nothing.
Just an investigation.
Yeah. So because they investigated me for crime, my claim has to be stayed, you see. So nothing happened until this January 2014. They started in April 2013. In January 2014, they bashed down my door, say, oh, you missed a court hearing. We're coming to get you. So I text my people, you guys came over today.
Yeah.
And by the time I'm arguing with them, these guys are up, they came and recorded everything.
Yeah.
And they say I missed a court hearing, so now they're going to take me down the station. You see. They took me down the station, tried to sell me their paperwork as usual. I tried to sell them as well. They refused my paperwork, I refused their paperwork. They took me back. So they came and break down my door, take me to the station, and then bring me back home, and that was it. You see. But like I said, they were arresting me so many times that I can't remember. The thing I'm going to bring is this. So when I'm suing them now, this is the guy's excuse. So this is the first arrest. So he said, I was present when, that's me, the redacted part is my name. So I was there when Troy was booked into custody suite, and his detention was authorized. Authorized is authority. Somebody has authority by, whatever his name is, Ray. Now, this is interesting. I explained to this custody sergeant the circumstances of the case, which is I've been harassing people, right? Originally, I believe the claimant was booked in on suspicion of having committed a Section 2 harassment, right? Although I'm not entirely certain. How can, this is the arresting officer, he's not certain, but he's putting me in a cell for 10 hours. He's not certain of why he's arresting me, right? Now, he carries on and says, if this did occur, it was a mistake by the other officer.
The custody sergeant.
Yeah, as I believe he must have misheard me, right? When I was explaining what he was arrested for. So he's taking me down the station and explaining to his sergeant who mishears him why I've been put in a cell for 10 hours, right? But they put me in anyway, that's fine. Now this came to light when a police officer, another one who's a constable, he's not an officer, this is a constable, a police constable who I did not recall, he can recall who told him, said to me that you could not have a Section 18 wounding, that's GBH, wounding paired with the standard harassment. So what they did was they arrested me, put me in a cell in their computers, because nobody ever sees these things unless you ask for a custody record. They put in whatever they feel like. So for me, I was put down under wounding and GBH. So that's why they put me down for 10 hours so they could go to my house and get my stuff. So this is the original arrest. And he carries on. I agreed and realized that the wrong offense had been noted. I therefore brought this to the attention of the custody sergeant so it could be corrected. How can you correct after arrest? It could be corrected to harassment with fear of violence, you see. So that's how he started off. He started off with harassment. He went to fear of violence, fear without violence. They arrested me for domestic molestation. They arrested me for breach of bail so many times. The domestic molestation was funny because I was living alone at the point. I was laughing at them. I said, you guys are idiots. They took me down the station for 8 hours because I was outside my garden. And at this point, they stole my stuff. So I'm an artist. So I'm sitting outside my garden in the summer trying to sell my art in the garden, you see. And when the cycle ones, they come and walk past. At that point, I had a whole bunch of kids from the neighborhood, and I had a board outside. And I had the police fake bail documents out there. And I explained to these kids, if you ever receive these documents, this is what's wrong with it. It's a con. So the road passed, about 45 minutes the van came up. They say it's in Troy, and I say, I started with my stuff, I don't recognize that now. We're going to arrest you, you breached a court order, a non-molestation order. We're going to take you in. So they took me in for 8 hours, and then I explained to them I leave alone. Could you please explain to me how domestic molestation can happen when somebody lives alone? That one vanished, you see. So they've done a whole bunch of stuff, but this is how it began. So I was arrested for Section 18 GBH wounding. I don't know who I did wound, but that's, from there on I've been fighting these idiots ever since. He carries on. So he says, we'll just do the fun ones. Right. I show you how they lie. So I have two gentlemen, police officers in my house. One of them says, the first one, this arresting officer, he says, throughout my contact with the claimant, which is me, I found him to be polite and articulate. He was very calm and controlled, although he continued to question about whether I and that PC Alicia were acting under the oath and why I had to go to the station. That's what I don't argue these fools. For me, when I speak to them, because I know the law, so I don't have to shout to them, I don't have to argue with them. I say, listen, are you acting under oath? How did you come in here? Do you know this and do you know that? Do you know the other one? You claim to be a legal officer. Do you know that? Basic things. If you're a legal officer, you should know these things. It's not up to me to teach you the law. You're the one who's going around saying that you're a law enforcement officer, right? What to explain to people is this. This is the guy who claims to be a brain surgeon. But when you go to see him, he's busy trying to operate on your knee. And I have to explain, hang on a second, it's not there. I saw a picture. I saw a picture online and he said the ring is here. And he's saying to you, don't worry about it, I know what I'm doing. Just shut your mouth. I'm going to cut open your knee and I'm going to operate in your brain. That's what these guys are doing. They're saying that they are law enforcers, but they don't know what the law is. So that's the basic thing. You need to know what law you're enforcing before you can enforce it. And that's why I say to them, that's how I deal with them. Which law are you enforcing? Is it statutory or common law? Before I say a word. Because it's different defenses, if you want to call it that. If you're operating under contract or statutes, you require my consent, you see. And I don't consent to anything. Please leave, you see. If it's under the common law, then have you observed me breach the peace? No, I haven't. You found me in my house. You're the one who came and left yourself in my house. I wasn't disturbing anyone, you see. So that's how it is. So this one, I'll show you the lie. So he says I was articulate and I was polite and calm. His friend, the next one, I'm going to skip it right to the end so I can see what it is that his friend said. Because they came, they handcuffed me. And I said, there's no need for that. Why do I need to be handcuffed? You see, now his friend, Alicia, if I can slow this thing down so I don't go past it. Oops. Right. I forgot the rest of the stuff that he said, but I just want to show the contrast, that you can have two people in the same place, but two different dimensions. So the first one arresting me is saying, fine, I was all right. Then the other one says, here we go. The claimant was handcuffed, because I wasn't saying about handcuffs. If you put handcuffs on me, that's assault. First of all, I haven't committed a crime. You come to my house and you talk about you're going to handcuff me. If you handcuff me, it's going to be assault and battery. So the claimant was handcuffed by P.C. Reynolds, who arrested me and transported to the place of business. I knew nothing about me or my background, other than I had seen so far in person. Now, this guy said our obtrusive attitude was evident of someone who was not likely to cooperate with us and may try to escape or turn violent, you see. The handcuffing was for our safety as much as his. As I believe, I would also have done the same thing, you see. So that's the contrast. So one guy says I was all right, and the other guy says he feared for his safety, which is all bogus. There's no fear of safety, you see. So where's the other one? Yep, but him as well, here. So that's him. Now, when they come to arrest you, there's something called a notebook entry. They always have a notebook entry, the two of them. So that when they do something, those two books can be compared so that the evidence corroborates each other. Now, he says he did not complete a criminal statement for this matter. Why not? As I was not the arresting officer, you don't have to be. Now, as there was nothing particularly unusual about the circumstance of the claimant's arrest and no offenses committed whilst this occurred, there was no need for me to supplement, you see. So that's how they get away from it. That one of them writes the book and the other one makes an excuse. So you cannot have two books to compare. Because one would say the guy was polite and the other guy would say the guy was very obtrusive, you see. So that's how they play the game. So every time they arrest you, ask for these notebook entries. I have this guy's notebook entry. We won't go through it today because I have the whole thing on these guys. I have about 70 statements like these ones. Today I've just chopped up about the oath stuff. So we can get on the oath. We'll get into a whole bunch of other things. So that's the second one, that they lie very, very much to get away from it. Third one is, let's see. There's one which I like very much. Right. So the reason why the claimant was not happy that we were there and stated that you had no right to be there. The good thing about these edicts is this, because they don't know what the law is. You can say this thing to them and they're going to write it out like this, just the way you say them. So that's why you watch your words when you speak to them. As soon as you see them, every word that comes to your mouth should be conscious. So when I was asking them this thing, they're writing down, when I said to them, you have no right to be here, and he's written it down there in quotes, you have no right to be here, that's what it means exactly. Until today, they haven't proved me what right they had to come into my house 4 years later on. They had no right. They say, won't compensate me, they're still trying to play games with me, but they had no right. So it's called a claim of right. Do you have a claim of right over my private property? So when you see them in your house, ask them that. Are you claiming you have a right to my property? They have no right, because otherwise it's property, because they're corporations, they cannot deal with property, right? So, here we go. P.C. Reynolds explained blah, blah, blah. Whilst the claimant was not aggressive, he was clearly not happy with your presence. So, one, I'm not aggressive. There's one, aggressive black man. We won't get into the aggressive black man today. That one we'll say for a special day. We have 17 statements. We'll carry on the whole year. Okay? So, there's one, which one is this? Markelis, yeah. So yeah, he's obtrusive attitude. So this is the guy who is the second copper. He's saying, the first one said I was coming and cooperating. He's carrying on about his obtrusive attitude was evident of someone who was not likely to cooperate. I was going to turn violent, and I was going to try and escape. Right. So we're going to get to the custody sergeant now. So custody sergeants, they're supposed to be to have more authority than the street guy. So the custody sergeant is, let me get you their role before I go back to Lucy. Their role is, one of them who's put what their role is, so you know exactly what they're supposed to do. Right here. My role as a custody sergeant is to do what? For the lawful, not legal, lawful detention and the welfare of prisoners. Right. The custody sergeant acts as a gatekeeper independent of the criminal investigation. That's the sweet thing about it. Because they're independent of the criminal investigation, when you go to speak to the custody sergeant, you should be able to express yourself properly and explain your circumstances. And if you have any basis to let you go, they will do that. But they never do that. Why? Because there's money involved. Because we explain to these people the law all the time and they ignore it. Because they want to get their fear all the time. So, now this is important because they're independent of the criminal investigation to ensure that the prisoner's rights are upheld and maintained. That's the word, upheld and maintained. You see, the decision on detention is mine. That's why we sue them personally. they can decide to let you go, or they can decide to keep you in there. It's a personal decision. It's not really the chief con man. So when you sue these people, you sue the man or the woman directly who has infringed upon your rights. So I will listen to pleas or representation by a suspect, a solicitor, or another officer, and will act accordingly if I feel these representations are valid, you see. So you should have an opportunity when they take you to the custody sergeant to explain yourself. So right, let me go back to that then, and see how I'll try to explain myself. Right, okay. Right, so for me, I admit this stupid, anyway, I can see her face, it just winds me up, but anyway, I'll try not to get emotional about this woman. If I had a chance, a backhand would be appropriate. But this woman is awful. She's very nasty bitch. I rarely swear, but she's a bitch. As soon as I walk to the station, she's like, whoop, and she started with me. I'm not going to deal with you like that. Anyway, that's her. Her name is Lucy Leadbeater. Sounds more like something beta. But anyway, we'll carry on. When I spoke to the claimant, I recall he came across as being educated, but he was very obtrusive. I'm not being obtrusive. I'm asking you a simple question. As a public servant, you should be able to answer these things. I'm not being obtrusive. Now, while he was not aggressive in any way, he did not want to assist me with any question that I put to him. Why should I assist you in any question to start with? You see, and I recall that he would regularly answer my question with a question of his own. That's how I deal with these idiots. You see, once you take me from my house against my will and take me to your place of business, don't expect me to be answering any of the questions. You're out of control. You see, because by the time you go to the station, the people who took me, they haven't answered me, are you acting under oath? You see, so in my impression, they're not acting under oath. They had no right to transport me, handcuff me, take me to this stupid woman to be asked any questions by her. That's why I'm not playing with her. I'm asking her about what authority are you detaining me here? That's all I need before I answer any of the questions. Are you acting in your public capacity right now before I answer any of your questions? So that's my not being cooperative. I'm trying to cooperate with you, but tell me which law you're operating under so I can answer your question. And that's my stance. Before I know which jurisdiction you're operating under, I can't say anything. And that's my whole thing. Now, what I had with me was my affidavit. So the claimant had a file or a large amount of paper with him. It's not a large amount of paper, it's a document this small. It's an affidavit, you see. And I recall that he gave me something to read. It's not something, it's that document I served it to her. I say, you've been served. Your custody said, you know about the law, you've been served. So he gave me the document. I do not recall exactly what it was that he gave to me. You're being professionally negligent, okay? Because you're supposed to hear representations. Now, if I come to you and I'm making representation in an affidavit form, and I hand it to you, and you don't recall what I gave you, what the hell are you doing then?
It's evidence.
Yeah. You see, and stupid Cal carries on and says, I do not recall exactly what it was that he gave to me, other than it was some form of document that he appeared to have created himself. And I'm saying to her, yes, I did create it myself. I did write the affidavit, I went to your lawyers, I got it signed and sealed, and this is my oath, you see. And that's what it is. I subbed it to her. I took the paper from him and placed it in a tray for the chief superintendent. She didn't bother reading it to see what my representation is. We placed it in a tray for superintendent.
Yeah.
So in any case, it doesn't matter. I've served the agent. The agent can serve the principal. Done. But this is not that's contract law. But she's still carrying on. So that's how thick somebody who's a law officer who's supposed to be hearing representations, and if she feels that, oh, you have some ground to stand on, then we'll let you go. What I'm saying to you is what you've done is an unlawful arrest. The officers trespassed into my house. They came and took me up here without having reached having reached the peace. Having committed a crime. What am I doing here? And she's asking me stupid questions and expect me to assist her in incriminating myself. So that's Leadbeater. We're going to get her full statement. These are just excerpts for now, for fun. But we're going to get a full statement when the time is right, and we're going to expose everything. Now I asked this. The claimant, which is me, this is still the Lucy Cal, asked what powers I was acting under in order to detain him. That's a straightforward question. But what powers are used to detain me here in the place of business? She didn't have an answer for me. I explained to him that he had been arrested on suspicion of breaching an anonymization order. This is the third arrest I was talking about. So this is not the initial GBH one. This is another one for the molestation one, the one that disappeared. and the detention was necessary to prevent my disappearance and allow for the prompt. This is that wording they use over and over again. That's the wording. You're going to find it everywhere. To prevent disappearance and to allow for the prompt and effective investigation into an allegation. Now, this is sweet. He also claimed common law jurisdiction because they refused to tell me under what law they're operating under. So I say, fine, if you refuse to tell me what law, I'm going to claim common law jurisdiction now. Because England is common law jurisdiction. And you're operating under something I don't know about, so I'm going to claim common law jurisdiction and leave it at that. This is what she says. He also claimed common law jurisdiction. I did not know, nor do I know, what the claimant was on about when he said this. Right? So this is a moron who's an imbecile who say they gained their degree from the University College of Imbeciles. That's why they graduate, and so they can do this shit. So she's saying to me, I'm saying to her, explain to me under what law you bring with your station. And I'm going to claim common law jurisdiction. If you don't know what law you're operating on, I'm going to claim common law. And she's saying to me in her own statement, this is something they found in the High Court, in their defense when I'm suing them, that she doesn't know what I'm talking about. This is her wording. I did not know, nor do I know what he was on about when he said this. Right? So the people who you entrusted to enforce the law don't know the law. Okay? So I don't know how else to explain it to you. This is one example. Like I said, I have countless. It's just one. We'll carry on. Anyway, otherwise we'll be here forever. So, it's another one. Right. I recall that the booking process took some time due to the claimant repeatedly asking questions of me and refusing to answer any of my questions. I don't answer any questions from a public servant. That's just me. I know who I am. You're here to serve me. You're in my house, right? I'm not going to answer any of your questions. If you're a servant, how the hell are they going to ask me any questions? I tell my servants what to do, and I ask them questions. That's my attitude when I come across people who have no integrity. You see, if I come across a police constable who knows what the law is, I'll speak to them differently. But when I come across an idiot who thinks they know what the law is, but they don't, you see, and trying to harass me, this is my attitude. Ask me a question, I'm going to ask you a question, right? Question number one, are you acting under your oath? And that's where I stick. If you're not acting under your oath, I don't want to talk to you because I know you're not constable. You see, you're just like me. We just guys having a chat. So I don't have to answer your questions. You see, and also remember, the duty and the power are different things. Duty is under common law. They have a duty to arrest you if you breach the peace. That's a duty. They have no choice. Their powers, which they derive from the acts of Parliament, that's discretionary. They don't have to arrest you. You see, that's the money part of it. But not because they have targets. I'm going to arrest 10 people today. I don't care who. 10 people are going to go in. You see? And I don't have to explain to them under what law I'm using or what, nothing. Just come here, you. Come here. You have been harassing people and you threaten somebody, I'm going to go in. And that is it. You see? So, yeah. So, where's the other one? So, questions. So, know what your questions are. We have 5 questions to do with these characters. Number 1, are you acting under your oath? Yes or no? If it's yes, have you observed you breach the peace? Yes or no? Okay? Number 3, am I being detained? Yes or no? If I'm being detained, under what law or what authority? If I'm not being detained, goodbye, I'll see you. You see? And that's about it. What else do you have to discuss with people? So don't get emotional, don't argue with them. Ask them simple questions. And if they don't answer, you stick where you are. So you ask me a question, I'll ask you a question as well. Until you answer mine, I'll answer yours. Right? What's your name? What's your name? What's your date of birth? What's your date of birth? We can go like that all day. Wait for me to breach the peace, and then come and deal with me. Otherwise, don't try and contract with me. We know your games, and it's not going to work anymore. Now they're using force. Now they're using threats. People are showing up with guns or some nonsense. I mean, it's like, it's a fear factor, right? Once you lose your fear, the guns don't mean anything, you see, because we are metaphysicists. Anyway, this is games first. This is jokes. We are metaphysicists. We deal with these people on a spiritual level. So your guns, you can't kill me because you never created me to start with. You see, so your guns and your weapons and what they call your weapons of death and torture, they don't scare us because they've used this stuff for many years and they've overused their evil. The evil is finished right now. We have no fear of these people. Okay, we challenge them like this. We don't fight with them physically because all they get trained about. They don't get taught what the law is. They get trained how to kill people and how to taser them, how to beat them up, and how to jump jump on one man, 10 men altogether. That's what they get trained on, but they don't get trained on what the law is. That's the difference. So you need to know what the law is, because ignorance of the law is an excuse. So once you know what the law is, no one can cheat you, because you know what it is. We know what the law is. Do no harm. As long as I have I haven't harmed anyone, you have no right to interfere with me. And that's my stance. So that's how we carry on. So they need the risk assessment. Oh, we're going to get to the mental illness business. Let me find another one. There's another sweet one anyway. Oh, just another idiot. Well, this one is so stupid anyway. Right. Anyway, that's the one that said that her role is this, that, and the other. She knew, her name is Maria. Now, during the process, I had seen the claimant in person for the first time, having no memory of seeing him during my brief involvement, blah, blah, blah. I recall the claimant acting in a very strange manner, right? This acting in a very strange manner is because I'm not being pushed around and I'm asking them simple questions. That's a strange manner. And I remember that he began to engage me in an argument of whether he was actually on bail or not. Because what these idiots did was, they arrested me on the 23rd, let me go for 10 hours, they say you're on bail. And tried to give me a document. At that point I was so pissed off, I took the document, crumpled it up, and tried to hit the guy behind the desk with it. And he was ducking, and that's how. You know, they didn't like that. I said, I'm not going to contract with you. You cannot put me on bail because the arrest was unlawful to begin with. So I'm not accepting any bail. I know what bail is anyway. Just for reference, you guys cannot be put on bail. Just know that. A bail you used to do with the other side is the law of the seas. It's mercantile. It's those things that you tie together, and sometimes you have a shipwreck and it falls off the ship. That's a bail, you see. So you cannot be put on bail. If you want to be put on bail, you have to be put on bail. You have to be a holder of a bail document in accordance with the Bail Act of 1975. I don't know, I can't remember which section it is. I don't use that statute anymore. But that's the point. They need to give you the document so you hold of it and you go home with it. You see. That's what the contract is. Yeah. If you go home with it and stay with it for 3 days, that's a contract. They expect you to come back on that day. Because the wording says that you have an obligation. The wording on the bail document says you have an obligation. An obligation is a job, is a duty. So if you don't show up, they're going to come and arrest you, right? So that's the thing about bail. Never ever accept bail, right? Because you're not a thing, you're not property. Bail applies to things. You're a man or a woman, you're living. You can never be put on bail. Same thing, you can never be put in custody, you see. You can never be put in custody. You can never put property in custody, not living man or woman. You see, that's ridiculous. Now, what was that? So, I'm engaging her in a debate of whether or not I'm in bail. I'm saying to her, she's saying to know you breached bail. And I'm saying to her, could you please prove that I've ever been put on bail? So that's the argument we're having for about half an hour. You see. And I'm saying, yeah, prove it. Prove I was on bail. Oh, and she produced a picture of the one they took of me when they arrested me. And she said, is that not you? Is that not you? You see, I say, no, it's not me. It's not me. It's an image. You see, I'm here right now. Explain to me when I was on bail. You see, and they couldn't do anything. This is I think the second arrest. I think this one. And that let me go. The first arrest, I did a mistake because I was very emotional and I was venting and I was yakking and explaining to them what the job was and talking too much. The second arrest, I learned my lesson, and from then on, I never contracted. So all the arrests after that, everything has disappeared. Even the last time in August when they arrested me, they took me to Huddersfield about they breached another court order and then put me in jail for 5 years, you see. I said, fine, could you please prove when you served me this paperwork? Anytime, nothing, you see. But that's the trick. So when you come into contact with these people, first thing you need to establish is this a police constable or is this a group 4 security guard who is dressed as a police constable? Because if you don't have an oath, you're a security guard. That's all you are, right? So, right now, the claimant denied that he had been bailed. Yeah, I said I've never ever been put on bail, and was protesting that he had been unlawfully arrested. True. Right. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Anyway, that's how we do the bail. So all these bail things vanished. When they took us to court, remember when the CPS couldn't bring the paperwork.
Yeah.
They tried that then, that I'd breached the police bail, but the magistrate just killed it.
Yeah, she did.
She said, no, that's nonsense. You see, so all this police bail just disappeared, because they know what it is. Right. Now, I always ask them the same question. So I recall the claimant asking me if I was acting under oath. Same, before I do anything with these people, I always ask him that. He also made various other remarks, this is the custody sergeant, and questioned to me during the process, such as references to the Magna Carta and the common law. because I was bringing them down to how they derive the authority, because I realized they don't know where the authority comes from. It comes from two sources. From the common law, number one, that is when they're defending the common law. That's under the Queen. Second is the statutory. They get powers from Parliament as well. That's the only two sources of authority from the police. You see, so I'm talking about, when I say I claim common law jurisdiction, it simply means I want you, public servant, to treat me according to the laws of the land. That's all. I want to be under protection of the Queen. That's all. I'm leaving the Parliament thing for now, for this particular matter, but for this case I want to be under common law. So I'm trying to explain to these people what common law is and what Magna Carta is. And I thought at the time that he was speaking rubbish to me. This is the constitution, right? And had no idea what he was trying to relate to me. You see. So how the hell can I explain to these morons that this is the law you're supposed to be enforcing? How can I express myself? Once I claim jurisdiction and the custody sergeant is saying to me she doesn't know what I'm talking about. And I'm trying to explain, it's half an hour, explain to her exactly where her powers come from. You see, so who's talking rubbish? I don't think it's me, I think it's her that's talking rubbish. You see. So these people they still put me in a cell after all this. Okay? This is just some of it, I'll carry on. My point in this was this, that the Magna Carta and the common law of the land, known as England and Wales, is not rubbish. That's why you're able to live the way you do today, as opposed to other countries. It's because of the history of it. And certain things were put in place to allow this place to be the way it is. And that's the common law of the land. And it goes back to Magna Carta, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution, all these things, you see. Now they're trying to get rid of the Constitution completely. Once that's gone, and the police have no oath, who are these people? You see. So once the police have no oath, I don't know, if I was a con man, I'd go and buy some uniform as well. And me and my boys, we'd be walking around the streets. They say, give us some money. Give us some handcuffs. Give us some cash, or we're going to take you in. Because who's going to know who's who if no one has an oath? You see, that's the point. You see, right. Yeah, so it's not rubbish. So the common law of the land, known as England and Wales, is not rubbish. You see, there's another one here as well. Okay, the way they teach you, I have a solicitor here as well. This is sweet. So the second arrest, they took me in for breach of bail. The third arrest, fourth arrest, I don't know which one. And now I'm tired with them. So, we're going to give us a list. That's okay, fine. Let me have some fun today. So they brought this woman, and she came into the cell. The police say you breached bail, and I explained to her I've never been on bail. Or the police confirmed it to me, you are on bail. And I lost it with her. So I explained to her how stupid she was, and how she didn't have two brain cells ruptured, and how she could fuck off and whatever else. Got the piss off. So she went to speak to the custody sergeant, and in their impression, because I'm talking Magna Carta and I'm talking intellectual garbage, I was mentally ill. So this is their defense. If you don't understand what I'm talking about because you're too thick and you don't have a brain cell, I have to be crazy. So that's the way they took it. So I've spoken to Mrs. Banerjee, that's the solicitor, when she has raised concerns as to the claimant's mental health, right? I have considered this also due to my interaction with the claimant. In my experience, those who speak what I would call intellectual garbage may have underlying mental health issues. So they call a doctor for me, because I'm talking about Magna Carta, the law. So they say I'm crazy, I'm talking the law. They're the ones who are crazy, because they're the ones who are injuring people and they don't know what they're doing. They're the ones who are crazy. You see, I can talk about common law all day long and all night long because I know about it. Because I've read all the laws and I've read their laws and I've read the common law and I've read a whole bunch of stuff. So I know what I'm talking about. She's the one who's crazy, you see. So I did call a doctor for me, and I went and spoke to the doctor and explained to him a few things, and he shook my hand. He said to me a few things, shook my hand, he left me alone. Yeah. I said,
so you were competent?
Yeah. These are food. So it's not intellectual garbage, right? We're not talking garbage. We know what we're talking about, and we talk about it all day because we speak with authority, and we know what we're talking about. The people who don't know are the people out there in uniform who are arresting your children and you and putting you in cells. They're the ones who don't know what the law is, right?
As opposed to unintelligent garbage, they talk.
Yeah, it's intellectual garbage. It's not intellectual garbage because I know the law and you don't. And for that reason, you cannot put me in a cell. What you're supposed to do is how about go and learn about the law and come back and talk to me after that and tell me about how intellectual garbage it is. So we're going to put them all out. We're going to put this continuously. If I wish I had a picture, I'd put it next to a statement. We have some pictures we're going to show them. But these guys, we're going to put them out because they haven't provided me. They haven't given me back my property, and they still don't want to give me compensation need. So we're going to do it another way. Right. So about the thing about the mental illness, you have to know this about certain sections of the community, and they use this all the time. You see, it's a well-known fact that the police use this excuse about mental illness, you see, to lock people up. That's why never ever get emotional with them, because as soon as you get emotional, oh, he's unstable. Now we're going to take him to the mental hospital. We're going to jab him with some drowses, and you're going to be even more unstable. You see. So the thing is, be very calm when you deal with them, because you know what the law is. The law is this: you have no authority to interfere with my rights unless I breach the peace. That is it. You see, nothing else. That's the law. Okay. Who else do we have? Right. Okay, that's fine. Or Clapham. Now, this is another idiot. This is the idiot who broke my door. Okay, so with him, I don't even know. Let's just do his picture. When you have more time, we'll do the entire statements. Of course, we're going to redact the confidential stuff, but we'll do the entire statements from beginning to end. They're about 10, some of them 15 pages long, and I have 17 of those statements, so we can be here all week. But this guy, I want this picture up. But this guy came to my door, he broke my door, and said, I missed the court hearing. I said, hang on a second, there must be a summons or something that was sent out. Can I have a copy, please? Nothing, we'll take you in anyway. So he took me to the station, and I had my affidavit there with me. So they tried to put, I'm going to go down to the claimant refused. So the claimant refused to provide me with the details of who he was. Because he asking me who are you and what my name and all this stuff. What's my name, what's your name? That's my game with this idiot. But I was satisfied that he was the person, because he came to my house, broke the door, asking me, what's your name? And I'm saying to me, I'm not going to tell you your name, my name. You broke into my house. Who the hell are you? And by what authority did you break into my house? I never gave him a name or anything. But they took me down anyway. But he said he was satisfied that the pictures he's seen looked like me. Right, so they took me down anyway. Until today, I've never seen the warrant that they used to break down the door. I've never seen the summons or the court date that I missed, or whatever. They're trying to shake you. That's what they do nowadays. They're trying to shake you. Right? If I'm getting this picture, and something I want to explain to you. Sharon. With him, he came to my house, as usual. I saw him with my affidavit. In his statements, he said, the claimant said that I never served him any paperwork. Right? But I have pictures of him. Now, this is the idiot. I wonder if you can see him nicely. Oh, it's such a shame. That's a fool. His name is Jonathan Sharrett. Now, if you see behind him, if you see here, on the door, at the place I used to live then, I was still doing the common law business. So what we had in our flat was the picture of the Queen, plus the police oath and agreement down there. This is common law jurisdiction, you see, and whatever rules there were. They don't care about the stuff. They still broke the door anyway. So I was explaining to the guy, read this notice. You agree with it? And he says, yes, yes, yes. So that's him, and that's the affidavit. So with me, this is how I do it. It looks like that. That's criminal service. That's him with the affidavit reading it. He could not know what I'm talking about. So throughout the flat, they woke me up, so I'm trying to get ready, and he's following me around the house. I'm washing my face, putting my clothes on, and I'm explaining to him I'm not a person, all this stuff. This guy had no clue what I was talking about. He took me down the station. On the way up there, I'm explaining to him everything. On the way back, I'm still trying to explain to him a de facto court and a de jure court. These guys have no clue what they're doing. He said he's been in the police service for 15 years. He's never heard anything what I'm talking about. Right? So guys, do not trust that these people know the law. They don't know the law. You don't trust this. Just because a man is wearing a uniform and he's got some weapons and tools to kill people, that he knows the law. He doesn't know. You see. I hope I got his badge number, because the police, the chief conman refuses to give their name and the details, you see. I need to see what authority they used to break the door. You see, so that's the fool. I never saw him in person. See what he has right there? This thing here. This thing. It's like a taser gun thing.
Remember, it should be in the statement, shouldn't it?
No.
Number should be in the statement.
What's that?
These numbers should be in the statement.
There's no statements.
Huh?
There are no statements. There's no paperwork. When you go,
should be on his phone.
yeah, but who got his number? Because it's a video, so I'm going to get the stills. But that's the guy. He's coming to break my door. He's got this big iron thing. He's got a taser and all these weapons. What for? We're not dangerous people. We are artists and metaphysicists. We make music and write plays and do things like that. You see. So why are they doing this? This is about the trying to cause fear. I'm saying we don't fear your tasers. You see, you're a man, I'm a man. I can get a taser as well and shoot you. What's the difference? We choose not to live like that. We choose to live in peace, not because we are fearful of these people, or because we oppose this, because we choose to live in peace. It's a better life. You see, that's the only option. It doesn't mean that we're not willing to go and do what they do. We just choose not to do. Because we could be idiots as well, and go and rob people and steal from people. But on a metaphysical level, we don't need to do that. There's enough to go around 10 times over, you see. I can get whatever I need if I focus my mind on my metaphysical stuff, because everything is ethereal. You see, everything is in thought. There's no physicality anyway. It's an illusion. There's nothing's physical. You see, everything is mental. You see, so that's him. That's the sign behind. And that's how many people they bring for me. They bring like a whole bunch of people in my house. You see, but that's Sharet. Who else? These ones, they took a baby. This guy looks like a pedo. Him. He's supposed to be a policeman. They took my friend's baby. Him and her, with fake warrants. These are fake warrants that came. They're unsigned and unsealed. When you have court documents unsigned and unsealed, it means that the country is under military rule. That's why the court, habeas corpus, is suspended. So right now, habeas corpus is suspended, apparently, because the court documents are not being signed and sealed. So that's why we're writing to the army. We need to write to the what they call the full general of the British Army. Usually you have the field marshal. He's the highest officer, but they don't have field marshal anymore. They have a full general. So you need to write to the full general of the UK Army and ask him, could you please confirm whether this country is under military rule? Because apparently we don't have seals anymore in the courts. The judges are not signing documents. Are we under military rule or what's going on? I've sent one of those. I'm waiting for his answer.
So why you don't reply?
No, that's
I've
interesting.
looked
Okay,
at
Rob.
everybody and you won't reply.
Okay.
They don't want to reply because, guys, your leaders, the so-called leaders, I keep saying they left you a long time ago. But I was saying this 7 years ago. They took what they could take and they left. There's no one running anything. There's no one running the country. There's no one running anything. You think there's a government? There's no government. You try and write to any department and ask a simple question, you get no answers. It's been like that for a few years. You've done it. You see, you're on your own. Take responsibility for your life and carry on. There's no man or woman who's singing and dancing in Parliament and making noise cares about you and your children. Don't delude yourself that those men and women out there, they care about you so much that right now they're planning how to secure your children's future. They're not doing that. They're doing it for themselves. So you need to take responsibility for your own life, take charge of your own life and carry on. But there is no government that's going to take care of you. That's finished. That's an illusion. Right? Yep, that's another idiot. This fool, I went to the High Court trying to get an injunction on the police coming to my house all the time, because they used to come to my house and bang on my door 6 in the morning, just give me a hard time. This time I was trying to sue them, my case was still on. So I got an injunction, filed it in the High Court, and I've had a hearing, you see. So I've gone to the High Court, and they brought 2 lawyers. They brought a barrister and a lawyer to come and fight me in the High Court. The judge was a bit shady. I wasn't well prepared because there's a lot of things going on then. My case wasn't very well, and I lost the case. And as soon as I lost the case in the High Court, I walked out, and this idiot here and his friend outside the door. Are you sure again? Boom. But now they're going to arrest me and take me to Magician's Court. It's a fake court. So I'm asking him, hang on a second. Or he said, oh, there's a warrant. There's another warrant for your arrest. You see? So where is it? Where is it? Oh, as you don't have to show, you just come with me. I said, no, that's nonsense. So I started walking out of the court. And they followed me all the way outside. This is outside this High Court. So the court is this way. So that's the headroom up here. You see? So all the way we're recording, and I'm asking, are you going to arrest me under statutory or common law? And this guy had no clue. That's another one, 1840. He's got no clue what he's doing. They took me in anyway. That was a horrible day. They took me in the Magician's Court and they did a whole bunch of magic on me that day. But I was on my own, because normally when you go in, you always go with witnesses.
Yeah,
if you go into a magician by yourself, it's 4 against 1. You're screwed. There's no way you're going to get away from it. The way they do it is the 3 branches of government have to be there for them to create the contract. They're going to get the executive, the judiciary, and the other one.
Legislative.
Yep, those 3 together in the same room with you. There's a requirement for the 3 of them to be there to screw you. That's why they always have the power of 3. And then your solicitor is like icing on the cake, just to show how stupid you are of the law and how incompetent you are, and he's the one who sells you. Yeah, so that's the entire game. Right? So, who else do we have? Right, I have a whole bunch of their names, and so these are the people who mess with me so far. I've stopped counting, you know, but I have the names and the numbers and everything else. My point is this: these people of the most dangerous criminals where we live, in West Yorkshire. Because these people are criminals who are pretending to be police constables. They're criminals because they don't know what they're doing, you see, and they're abusing people.
Incompetent.
They're professional negligence, they're incompetent, they have absolutely no right to be in that office if they don't know the law that they're enforcing. That's my whole point. If you don't know what you're doing, please let somebody else who knows what they're doing do it. But you cannot go out and arrest people, detain them, take their property unlawfully. Because what they've done to me is unlawful. It's not even legal, because legal at least requires some piece of paperwork. For me, since the case began, I've never seen a single piece of paper to do with my case. Not a single one. 4 years. I've asked the court, I've asked CPS, I've asked the police, and lawyers involved in the case, all of them. Not a single document, till today. You see. But they put me in jail for 3 months. With no documentation, nothing. They kidnapped me off the street, took me to Leeds, took me to Huddersfield, they tried to put another claim up there on me, that one failed, and they locked me up. They put me to prison. I went to the governor and said, I need to see the paperwork, but I need to do my appeal within 21 days. I know the law, section 111 of Magistrates Court Act. Any conviction can be challenged within 21 days. Can I see the paperwork, please, so I can take it to the higher court? I didn't see anything. Instead, they put me in solitary. Right? So, for me, this thing for me is real, and we don't shy away from these adventures. For me, it's all a game. I'm laughing all the way, you see. For me, I find it easy nowadays. I don't stress about it. I don't fear them. I find it exciting sometimes, because every time I do this, I'm laughing. When I'm writing my letters, I'm on the floor, you know, because I'm just cracking up. Because some of the stuff we write to them, it's not, anyway, we have a whole bunch of evidence. Over the time, we'll show you what we've written to them as well. And you see some of the crap they write to us. We've dealt all the way from the policeman, arresting officer, we've dealt with magician's court, with a district judge in the magician's court, we've taken it all the way to a judicial complaint office. So we're going to show you those. So if you try to make a complaint about a judicial office holder, you'll see how much circle they'll take you around the walk around the houses for a minute. My one took 6 months until I gave up. Because when I went to court and I found this idiot pretending to be a judge, what I asked him is this: what's your name? He couldn't even tell me his name, and they ran away. He's here somewhere. We have the court case on video anyway. Where's the flipping? But the video is, this is when he was running away. Such a shame. Anderson, yeah. That's a fool. When we do we're going to do it properly so you can see the video. We're going to edit the video and say it's bright enough and do the volume. When I went in court, I asked the guy what his name was. And the other I will tell you...
Gobbledygook!
Yeah. I said, you have to type, then you'll find you do. And he said, what's your name? I said, I'm the executive of the account in the matter before the court. That's Gobbledygook! What? Sit down, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to sit down. I need to know whether you're indemnified to sit on the Queen's bench.
He went
crazy. This idiot went crazy, you see. Eventually, they kicked us out of the court. Because eventually, first they took some people out.
Yeah.
And then the guy, he ran away, came back, and the usher guy, there's a guy who wears a cape. We call him a flying court man. He always wears a cape, and him. He says, chased half the people out. This guy came back. And then, what is the last thing? We asked him one final thing, and then he just disappeared, never came back.
Yeah.
We asked him about, whether he was acting private or public.
Yeah.
And he wasn't having it.
I don't disclose that information.
I don't have to disclose that information. You find that you do. And he went crazy. And he ran away, and after that, we left the court as well. And then a year after that, it was Joanne. So I saw your face on Crime Stoppers.
No, it's on the internet, it's on Crime Stoppers.
I said, what? I saw your face on Crime Stoppers. I said, what, me? Yeah, you. And I was driving a van one time, what's his name, Andy. I was in Chapel that we lived. This guy, I know he was driving a van, and he said,
What's there, this man in West Yorkshire?
He called me to the van. I said, listen man, I saw you on Crime Stoppers. I said, no way, yeah, you're the most wanted criminal. I said, fucking hell, no. Apparently, they had a secret trial by themselves and found me guilty in my absence. Right? I'm thinking you cannot do things like that. That's number one. So you're going to chase these people all the way to the end of the world. You're going to chase them all the way to sea. You see, but for me, I don't choose the drama, but if you want to bring the drama, I can give it to you all day. You see, because for me, I'm very focused on the things I do. The same way I take time to do my art or my music or to do my plays, it is the same amount of time I'm going to invest in fucking with you. That's just my mentality. They don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you. But if you want to bring it, I'm going to bring it 10 times over. You see, that's my last test, because I've done my 7, I've removed the 7 sins. That's our chakra development. There's one left for me. The only one left for me, I've done everything else. The one left for me is this, that you should be able to just be still, even when people are coming to kill you, like Jesus, when they come to get you. You should be at that point where you just come on guys, do what you can do. Because you know that you're higher than that. I'm not there yet. For me, if you fuck with me, I'm still going to fuck with you. I'm not going to try and get a cheat yet. I'm still working on it. I'm going to get there eventually. But for right now, if you burn down my house, I'm going to burn down your house. That's how it is. Okay, so for these guys, because they refuse to give us remedy or our property back, we're going to expose them for who they are. Who they are is this. People who are pretending to be public servants, but they're not public servants. They're acting privately, and they're acting predominantly for money. It's all for gain. They're accessing your Citus Trust accounts, which used to be called the fideicommissory account, what's called the secret trust now. That's all they're doing, right? They're accessing your accounts. That's all. There's no law, there's no justice. So, what you need to do is secure your property. Your estate is your body and everything that you own. Make sure that you own it and only you benefit from it. So that every energy and everything you do, you benefit from it and you advance yourself, both physically and spiritually. But the primary one is spiritual development, more than physical development. Because once you're shocked, and once you reach a certain mentality or meditative state, you can do a whole bunch of things, like we do. When we do our artwork, we get in a meditative state where we can produce pieces a whole week, a whole bunch of new stuff. And that's how you can earn your living, if you will. So the point is, try and find something to do that you like doing, and find someone to pay for it. That's it. But don't do something you don't want to do just because you have to do a job, just because you have to pay bills, and you hate the job and it's making you ill. The first thing is your health. That's primary. Because even if you have a lot of money and you're unhealthy, you're not going to enjoy your money, you see. So health is primary. So you can work so hard to get the money, and then once you get the money, you get sick, and now you cannot enjoy your money. You can work so hard, you get to a point where you get sick, you cannot work anymore. And now you're fucked. So health is primary. Mental health. Once you're mentally healthy, physically you'll be alright. So mental health is number one. Now, how you do it? You get rid of all these parasites who are exploiting you. Once you get rid of the parasites, your body's clean and you carry on.
Have you used that remedy yet?
For me, I'm not chasing remedy yet, because where I am right now, I know exactly what's going to happen to me as happened before. If I try to sue them where I am now, they're going to come back and harass me again. So I'm going to leave it for a minute, let them forget about me, but I'm seeking remedy another route. What I've done is I've written to the Chief Conman. We've done the writ of quo warranto, which is simply, I think everyone here should do it for their own conmanry area. Ask them about what authorities, legal authority or qualifications allow them to hold that office. You see, and is it a public office or a private office? If you don't get no answers, you create your own agreement. I accept that it's a private office, in which case, if you write to me, it's going to cost you so much. If you stop me, it's going to cost you so much. If you stop me for anything except a common law offense, you will have accepted liability for a whole bunch of things. So that's how we deal with it, you see. All right? So because we have another speaker, I'm going to cut it short. If you have any questions, please ask, and then we'll do more with these guys next time. But we have enough to go around for a long time. But what I want to prove today is that the police don't know what the law is.
Yeah, they're incompetent.
Okay? The thing is intellectual garbage when we talk about the law. All right? So any questions?
You asked, like, under what authority, but they actually locked you up for 3 months.
I'm sorry?
Did they actually lock you up for 3 months?
Yeah.
For what?
Was it harassment?
Just
No, the point is this. That's the harassment.
Okay.
Yeah, the point is this.
Found guilty. No. Guilty.
How was it there? They said, yeah, that's what it said. But what I said, fine, I accept that. But let me see the paperwork.
They can't produce nothing. They just think
Once I have the
on the
paperwork
phone.
from the magicians, I take it to the High Court.
Okay, we'll listen to that and take away.
They arrested me about a year and a half afterwards. So they had a hearing in 2014. They arrested me in 2016. So in jail, I'm asking the governor. And I'm saying, listen to the paper.
Any more questions?
Any questions? No? All right, thank you.